Hello, welcome back to a game played on grass live. Producer Matthew isn't here tonight, and we've had a load of technical difficulties, which is just perfect. It's almost as if he's jinxed us. He's probably got a voodoo doll and he's stabbing us with it, so it happens. But I think we got sorted now anyway. We're going to talk about tonight Bournemouth's magnificent performance against Leicester at the weekend. But mostly we're going to focus on Crystal Palace, Roy Hodgson and Wilfried Zaha, and whether or not you think, so we do anyway, that he's maybe one of the best players outside the top six. Certainly is for me. One of, yeah. I think he actually is the best, but we'll chat about that in due course. Now, just before the last show cut on us there, me and Jake were talking about Crystal Palace and their starts so far this season, how it's been indifferent, and how actually Monday Night Football, Gary Neville and Jimmy Carragher both said that they think Palace will be the team that will really push the top six. And I was trying to find out, would you go along with those lines? I know they had that slump that we're talking about where they lost 3 in the bounce. They managed to recover at the weekend with a good win. But do you think with the signings and all that they've made?
I suppose there would be a team, based on their development, on their improvement towards the end of last season under Roy. Last season, isn't that right?
He commenced, September last year.
A few games in. And they were really in dire straits at that stage. They hadn't won a game, they hadn't scored a goal. Major problems at Sellers Park. And Hodgson slowly but surely turned that around and made them, and ensured their survival, I suppose, in the Premier League. We expected that to continue and them to build on that. Now, he has made some very astute signings in Cheku Kouyaté from West Ham, for example, a player who has Premier League experience in abundance at West Ham, and a player that I personally rate very highly. He's one of those box-to-box midfielders who's very good in the tackle, but also can get on the end of balls in the box. I know he had a goal disallowed at the weekend there for a foul on the goalkeeper at Huddersfield. But, signings like that were going to be key to challenging the top six. Now, do I think they've done enough? I want to see more of Max Meyer.
Yeah,
I want to see more of him. He hasn't really got into the side yet, and I think if they can work a way of getting him into the game, then that will lift them, lift their performances, lift their creativity another level.
You have to remember as well that, and John has just already said it, was what I was going to say, is Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah.
It's such a massive miss, and it must be absolutely killing Crystal Palace supporters that he's sitting not even on Chelsea's bench. He's not even sitting on the bench.
It's killing you that he's not.
Yeah, I mean, personally, every time I've seen him play, I think he offers a lot. He deserves to at least have a place on the bench. I know he's injured at the minute, but Chelsea's Europa League game coming up this week will be a perfect sort of platform for him to start showing what he can do. But certainly from a Crystal Palace point of view, it must be absolutely killing them, because he was impressive last year. You would like to have seen, last year the most used formation was 4-4-2, and they had Benteke and Zaha play off, and where they had Sacco as well was in there. Kabay, John's in there too.
Yeah, Kabay's gone. That was another one I wanted to mention, and they brought in Max Meyer, as you mentioned, who's a brilliant talent from Germany. On Saturday they went to a 4-3-3 because Benteke got injured. Benteke hasn't been great this season for them, and he didn't score a bundle last year either. And I think get Max Meyer in the team, that could be a really interesting attacking three, like Zaha, who'll float. He'll not stay in one position.
Yes, I suppose the only thing that would worry me about Palace is that Christian Benteke is not in there at the moment for goal threat. He's in there to be a physical presence, because Palace on many occasions need to knock that long ball down the field to give their defence a little bit of relief. Without Benteke in the team, 4-3-3 with the likes of Meyer in there, the physicality just isn't there, and ultimately that would involve a major psychological change and focus from Roy Hodgson in his
practical
career. Yeah. He hasn't done that in his career really without that figurehead up front. You remember the likes of Bobby Zamora and Dempsey playing up. Dempsey was a physical player as well. At Fulham.
The difference with these players, though, that you're speaking about, is that these players also got goals. And Benteke, for whatever reason, at one point in his career, he did get enough goals, which would be enough for Crystal Palace probably to keep them up, to keep them maybe pushing towards top 10 or whatever. But the sort of player you're talking about in this bottom half of the Premier League, which is where Crystal Palace are probably going to spend most of their season, is the likes of a Glenn Murray, someone who's doing it but is also physical. You've seen he scored 4 goals this season or something, Glenn Murray, and
he's been at Palace before, hasn't he? I think he played for them in the Championship.
yeah. So that is what they're missing. Somebody physical, yes, to hold the ball up and relieve those defenders, but they need to be getting the goals too, because
but
against the teams in around them.
But ultimately, Brenton, Crystal Palace are a team that needs the financial return on the likes of Christian Benteke. They spent over 20 million on him, and they're not going to get anywhere near that back. What I think, the cynic in me says that Crystal Palace hope that he goes a bit of a goal run, and they can get rid of him in January and bring in someone who's more reliable. Ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen, and they're going to have to cut their losses with Benteke eventually, and I think the sooner the better.
I actually, like, the big man didn't work out at Liverpool. When he was at Aston Villa, he was outstanding, especially when he played against us for some reason. I would go along with that. I would probably look to shift him on. Nothing against him. I just, as you said, I don't think it's working. And we talk about Roy Hodgson on our manager focus. That's who we're going to look at this week. You're right. When he's at that Fulham side that were brilliant and got themselves to the Europa League final, they had that target man that they could rely on that was getting goals in Bobby Zamora. You'd wonder who's out there though that really Roy Hodgson could go and get. It's probably too early in the season to think of buying a new player now because we're still in September. And I actually really like the fact that they brought someone like Max Meyer in. They shifted Kabay on. I think he was good, but I think there's times where last season
Just didn't have the legs, I don't think.
it's not even that. Sometimes I looked at him last season and he looked like he was already off somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? And I like McCarthy that they've got in there, and as you said, Kouyaté, and then they've got Milivojevic. So they like some Max Meyer coming in.
Why not give Sorloth? We felt Sorloth.
Yeah.
I think he came on against Chelsea, which is why I started bringing him up, and he was impressive. Big guy, looks like he could get goals. If Benteke's not doing it, why not at least give him a go?
Yes.
One or two games.
Yeah, and I would say, he's on the bench. Surely he will be given the opportunity. The longer that Christian Benteke is out, they're going to have to try that, because that is the Roy Hodgson way, so to speak. Ultimately, Palace also have to be careful here if they do go in to replace, not that we're going into transfers here, but if they do go to replace Benteke, that they don't bring in the likes of Lacadia that Brighton brought in from PSV Eindhoven, and who looks absolutely out of place because he came on for them against Southampton on Monday night and he just could not get up to the pace of the
He
play.
stumped the place out.
Ultimately that's the major risk, when you're going to try and sign a major frontman who's...
Danny Ings could have been a good option for them. Divock, I'm just thinking of Liverpool, maybe that Divock Origi's still there.
Divock Origi,
yeah, young Solanke. You're talking about powerful players, and Solanke's obviously not getting much game time at Liverpool.
Yeah, again, and I always talk about it as the English players these young English players who made such an impact at unraised level, who are not getting their games. Why not go to the likes of Palace,
where they get it,
where they're going to get it? Which is what Loftus-Cheek did.
Did he want to go again in the summer, or what was the story there with Loftus-Cheek? I don't know.
He seemed to enjoy
very hard
himself.
to say. I think he ultimately wants to play for Chelsea,
Yes.
which would be ideally what he wants to do. But then last season Chelsea went and signed Barkley, and then this season they went and signed Kovacic and Jorginho. So, which Ruben Loftus-Cheek could play Jorginho's position. He can play anywhere in midfield. He could play a number 10. But Chelsea, if they're not gonna play him and they're gonna sign these players, why not? At least loan him out again.
2-year loan or something, and let's see what happens.
But ultimately, the player needs to be realistic as well. Like, the club have gone and bought those players over the last 2 transfer windows. He hasn't got a look in. They obviously don't rate him. Let's face it. They would have given him
2 different managers have looked at him.
Yeah,
He's still young though. He's still young too.
He probably thought, under Zaha he might be given the opportunity, a new man. But this is Chelsea. New man comes in, new man goes out, and the man goes out, another new man comes in. Ultimately, he needed to look after his own interests. I think a return to Palace would have really worked well for both
Just sort of talking a lot to see, and we'll talk a little bit more about Roy Hodgson as well in a bit, but I wanted to talk about Will Zaha. We're talking about obviously Loftus-Cheek going from Chelsea to Palace. Well, everybody knows Zaha went from Palace to Manchester United, got his big move. Never thought that was going to be it. He was going to be an absolute superstar. Didn't work out at him. Was probably far too young to go. The price tag was quite big as well. He's gone back. He's at Palace now, and arguably he's one of those players that if you had the chance you'd pay and go and watch him play because
He's
you know
exciting.
he is very
Yeah,
exciting. Now his goal return is not massive. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to kid anyone here. He's not like a prolific winger,
Yeah.
but his skill and the way he can take a man on. Like his goal on Saturday was outrageous. I can't remember the name of the two players at Brighton that he skint, but they'll never forget that. Like he flicked the ball, rolled the ball on top of his foot, and then he took off and passed to them and curled it into the far top corner.
He's the only player at that club capable of a moment of
Brilliance.
individual brilliance, really, and that is why he is so important. If there's a one man club in the Premier League, it is Crystal Palace and Wilf Zaha.
I heard of 5 Live, just 2 seconds. They were talking on 606 and a fan texted in and said it's about time now that we put a statue up, a Wilf Zaha statue up outside Selhurst Park. It was a young fella going like fair play to him, like, but
ultimately I suppose the biggest signing for Palace during the transfer window was him signing a long-term contract with the club. You know, he's 25, he's at the peak of his career, had a wonderful season last year.
Best season he's ever had.
An unbelievable season. If you look at the stats, you know, they played 10 games without him, they lost 100%, all 10 of those games. You know, the percentage of games that they lost was reduced by 80% when Wilf Zaha played. So, you know, they only lost 20% of games when he played. Like, that is unbelievable for one player and the impact that he has on that side.
and for like a natural winger.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you're talking about Frank Lampard or Paddy Vieira or Steven Gerrard, you know, where they're
Not
so
in the-
pivotal in the
yes.
middle, like, or a centre half. Like Liverpool took Van Dijk out now. I don't even want to start thinking about that. They'd be a big, do you know, that sort of thing. Like, this is an attacking
But
winger.
then again, Eden Hazard is also a very key player for Chelsea.
It could become a very close second to a one-man team. But the thing with Zaha is, do you think it is all, you know, all about what he does on the pitch, or there's bound to be something now in their heads to think we can't win when he's not on the pitch?
Like a psychological thing, where
Yeah.
because they have a
Certainly.
ball in it, there could be an argument for that, actually, yeah. Be interesting to see what John thinks.
It's like May 2016 or something that they've won a game without him in the Premier League. Was the last time they won a game without him?
That's mad.
Jeepers me.
I didn't know that's class.
Yeah.
It's mad and that's class. But
That's crazy.
there must be something psychological, because
But
they'll
of
probably
course-
look up and think, no Wilf here to pull us out of a hole. Because
Yeah.
even if he doesn't score in that moment, he gets the ball and it's relieving pressure too. It's that thing we were talking about, you fire it along to the target man, where Benteke like
Feeds off it.
is more or less like playing the Giroud role. Do you think that Giroud plays for France?
Giroud would be an unbelievable
Oh, yeah.
balance, you know. That would be
He's won me over. But like Zaha, they look up and give it to Wilf, but know he's going to beat this man 9 times out of 10.
But you know, ultimately, what I would say to you, you know, if you go out to play on a Saturday and you know you're under the cosh for the majority of the match, like they were against Huddersfield, and
Yeah.
you know, Wayne Hennessy had a number of dodgy moments, okay, as did the Crystal Palace defence. But you look up the field, and then all of a sudden, Zaha beats 2 people and wins a corner. And the energy in the team just lifts, you know. And then he goes round someone else, and then he wins a free kick, and then he can get the team forward and attack the set piece. Then he goes round 2 players like he did on Saturday, like they weren't there,
Fires in the top
and
corner.
fires into the top corner. You know, like, surely it's psychological to an extent as well. You know, without him, the team just aren't the same. You know, tactically, technically, and psychologically, you know, weakened by his absence.
I know if Liverpool were playing them on Saturday and Zaha wasn't there, I'd be thinking, right, well that's just got easy. Not easy, but that's just got not as difficult.
A hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, we can take these lads on now. Because there's no one really else that you think's gonna punish you. Max Meyer, I think, will be, when he gets up and going, from what I've seen and what I got on in Bundesliga, he's a really, really good talent, and he's one of those players that could do so. Remember Lewis Holtby came into the Premier
That's
League,
right.
and for a while I was like, look, I think Max Meyer could be that type, hopefully better for Crystal Palace and prolongs his career there, but certainly, yeah, it must be something that they look up and go, right, Wilf's not here.
You see,
He's worried then if
and,
he got a serious injury.
and that's why they need to bring in another player who will take the weight of the team, who will take the pressure off Zaha. You know, as much as he probably revels in that being the main man, someone who'll come in and say, hold on a wee second, I can also win games for you. So you're not just looking at one man, you've got 2,
Yeah.
then you get 3. And then Liverpool, you know, how many match winners are there eventually? And when Klopp came in, there were very few. Now, when you look up, If it lands to Mane, if it lands to Firmino, if it lands to Salah, if it lands to Naby Keita, you know, panic stations. The more match winners, slowly but surely you build them, and that's why, you know, John's talking there about the sad reality of Zaha leaving in the summer. You know, why not? They've got him to a long-term contract. Ask him to give him another year. He'd still only be 26, 27. Bring in a few match winners. Hopefully at that stage Max Meyer would have made a big impact. You know, bring in some more match winners, and hopefully that would convince him to stay. Like, I just love watching Crystal Palace at Sellers Park.
I would say,
pressurised cauldron. You know, the atmosphere is superb.
I want to go to a game there. I don't care if they're playing Liverpool. I don't care who they're playing. I want to go to Sellers Park and witness a game. Hopefully Zaha's playing. But that is actually what John's saying, and he's got it. It is quite sad. But I've been there with Steven Gerrard. Like, we've had times we've had no one, and we've been so reliant on him. So I kind of know what you feel. We weren't obviously in your predicament, and we had more money and probably should have been buying better players. But I do see what you mean, and Eamon as well. So many mid to lower league teams depending on one star man. Crystal Palace is one of many. Eamon's a Newcastle fan, and you just wonder if they had someone they could cling on to as well. Well, they did, but he's playing for Fulham now. Mitrovic. But look, the whole point of this, and I wanted to bring it up, was
the
that
interesting thing there about Eamon. You know, many mid lower league teams. You know, the team at the top of the table is, at the moment, very much dictated by, and success is dependent upon one man. Like, so it's throughout the league, you know, the impact of one player can be massive.
I want to talk about Zaha being the best player to the top 6 because I think he is, maybe being selfish. Would you agree with that, or is there someone else you think? I know everyone's going to fire Jamie Vardy, so if it's Jamie Vardy, get it out there, that's fair enough. If you're watching this here tonight or later on, let us know if you think there's somebody else that's better.
I think the reality is that no one other than maybe Vardy pops into your head when you talk about.
Is important, definitely, yeah.
Is this important to their team, or just in terms of their standard as an individual footballer? Because like Glenn Murray, you mentioned already, is unbelievably important to Brighton.
Yeah.
You know.
But who? Okay.
But of course, Zaha's a better footballer.
Who, like, out of take the top 6 out of it.
Yeah.
Who out of the rest of the league, if you could, you had to buy one player, and don't even think if you need a goalkeeper or a defender or a fullback, just one player that you could spend any amount of money on, who would you buy and bring into your club? Mine would be Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah, so would mine. But if then you're talking about what do you need, you know,
it's different then,
like,
yeah, it's different,
yeah. Do you think if Zaha came into the Liverpool team, he would start?
No. Not immediately. No, I don't think so. He'd have to win it over.
That's not why he's at Crystal Palace. Personally, for himself, because he's maybe, you know, once bitten twice shy with Man United.
I think
he wants to play football. Do you?
Yeah.
Ahead of Pedro, Willian.
Pedro or Willian.
Yeah,
I
don't think neither of their. I know Willian has been like in very difficult times for Chelsea. He's been their player of the season, for example. You know, but realistically, have either of those players since they've come to Chelsea really nailed down a starting place in the team? I wouldn't say so.
I think Spurs should have looked at him.
Spurs, yes, but just to go back to that, they're basically sure a starting position.
Yeah, like
Pedro.
Yeah.
I don't think personally, like just. Probably a bit of it.
Won 5 games out of 5.
Yeah,
so
a bit of it is because, you know, Willian was so good in that season. Chelsea were so bad, and the Chelsea fans love him, which is maybe why I would say that Willian would start ahead of him.
You know,
but talent place, age.
Yes, I understand that. You know, in terms of Willian and Pedro, there's no doubting in their quality. You know, and the contribution to Chelsea that they've made already. You know, but I think you know. Zaha's energy, you know, his youthfulness would bring a different dimension to Chelsea. Now, look, do they need another dimension? They're 15 out of 15 points. Okay, maybe Arsenal need him. I would love him at Arsenal.
I'd love him.
He'd be a wonderful winger, you know, to have. But because Arsenal don't really have a natural winger, Aubameyang, who's a natural goal scorer, is playing completely out of position, and really it's hampered his form. You know, so there are problems, and maybe Arsenal would be a place for him. You know, the only player there, I suppose, that's coming to mind who might, I suppose, challenge that is the player who's emerged heavily this season. That's Ryan Fraser. Give him another season, maybe. You know, he could be as important. Maybe he will be a top 6 side player.
I think Liverpool should sign him so he stops scoring against us. So
it's interesting that I think there is. I can't remember who it was on the radio talking about the gulf between Championship and Premier League. E.g. Ryan Sessegnon, so good in the Championship last season.
He's really struggled.
And he's really struggled so far this season. He might come good, but there's a couple of other examples of players.
They got ripped to pieces by Sterling on Saturday.
That is a tough task, like, but
It is.
it is. And you look at like so just to talk with the other side of it, Ruben Neves.
Yeah.
He'll not be at Wolves next season.
No.
He don't even know. He might even be there in January.
A couple of those boys might not be there next season.
But ultimately, you see, that's the project at Wolves.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't come back into the league to be a selling club. They have come back into the league because they want to establish
They want to
themselves
Monaco.
firstly. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly what they want
Yeah.
to do.
We will talk about Wolves some week as well, but that's what they're after.
And because their coach is being linked with the Manchester United club.
Nuno, yeah. So who would you go with Zaha as well?
I would go with Zaha. I would take him at Arsenal now.
And what do you make of then Roy Hodgson at Palace? As you said, he came in this time, I think it was the 19th of September he came in. No, the 12th of September.
12th September, I think.
Last year. Then he was part of a record Palace didn't want at the time where they lost 7 games in a row. But then they
Scored a
became,
goal.
yeah, but then they became the first team to ever lose their first 7 games and stay up. And not only did they stay up, they got 11th. Which is a really good base to, or like, yeah, for them to go forward on it this year. Now they've had a stuttering start. They've had some tough games.
Their win against Huddersfield was massive.
It's massive for them.
But at the same time, their performance, I wouldn't be totally convinced with it. You know, I wonder what John thought of their performance the weekend. But ultimately, you know, I would say that they were quite fortunate. You know, Aaron Moy hit the base of the post. You know, Meunier had a number of very good chances. He was marginally offside when he had an unbelievable chance towards the end. Wayne Hennessy looked dodgy. Who's their sub keeper? They bring in a keeper.
Is it not Alex McCarthy, or is he had someone else playing
Alex
against him?
McCarthy.
He is Southampton, sorry, yeah.
It's not just Julian Sproney, surely.
John will tell us in 2 minutes. It's gone out of my head.
You know, but I would consider looking at him. You know,
Hennessy.
I think Hennessy's a weakling.
Hodgson, like Palace, obviously he's come in. He replaced De Boer. He had a nightmare. The year before that, didn't they get the FA Cup final and beat the Manchester United? So that was a good basis for them. And then got to 11th next year. Below 11th, and I know this is going to sound awful because I'm a Liverpool fan having to go Roy Hodgson. I don't mean it, I guess. I think if they finish below 11th, have a really poor season. I know he only did only 2 years contract anyway. I think you should just get rid of him.
Roy Hodgson?
Yeah, because they should base on it for the next year.
Disagree, like.
I think so. Like coming the way they did last year, if they finish, I mean, like I don't mean 12th. I mean like challenging for relegation.
I think if you ask John that right now, finish 12th, he'll bite your hand off.
But if they okay, I'll change that. If they really struggle and they just about survive, hoof them and get someone else in. Well, that's what that's what I would do.
You have to remember.
This is what they're trying to do with the board.
This Palace side.
That would be he'd be going
Premier League
backwards.
survival is not guaranteed with this Palace side. You know, they are good, they have a wonderful player in Zaha, but the Premier League survival is not that easily achieved. And I'd be very careful what I wished for if I was a Palace fan.
Look at West Brom.
John Tigers made an unbelievable point there that this man, Roy Hodgson, after all this,
he's gone back
he's
to
a
his old
local fella that the ordinary fan feels that they can relate to, who really has the interests of the club at heart. You know, us, we would give anything for that. You know, I would love to see someone who's a real Arsenal fan being the boss of Arsenal. You know, realistically that doesn't happen. I think it'd be a major mistake to let Hodgson go. You know, since he's come in, they've won, you know, or drawn about 66% of their games. Like, that is wonderful stats. Given that he doesn't have an out-and-out goal scorer, given that he's so reliant on one player, you know, I think
he's made it very hard to beat.
You have to be very respectful of what he's done.
But that's why I would not. Hoofen probably was harsh. If they,
you just don't like him.
I don't like the man. I hate his face. But if I think that they have a really good basis now, and they need someone that's an actual very good coach, like. They can be, as you said, they're very reliant on Zaha. They need to be not as reliant on Zaha, and you can do that by playing different football. You can work that into playing different football, and they don't. As John said, they obviously weren't great on Saturday, and he is a local lad, and he's a club legend. That's fair enough.
Listen, he's been there a year, right?
Yeah,
he's been there.
He did very, very well last year. Brilliant last year.
I think I think he probably himself, he's what, 72?
Close
He
to,
probably want to retire at that club. Like.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, another 2 years for him
Just
to
nudge him into retirement.
another say 2 years for this season and next to stabilise that club as a Premier League club, and this is what he wants to do as a supporter of the club as well, to set it up for somebody else to come in and maybe have that basis to change the style of football,
Really ignite it and push it forward, yeah.
yeah, and use Zaha, what, 27, 28 to be the focal point going forward. I wouldn't be surprised if they already have something like that in place at Crystal Palace, but I think he definitely should stay beyond his contract with this season, is it? And
He's
then
had a 2-year deal.
yeah.
But I mean, the other side of the coin is that if he improves him and brings him to 10th, into the top 10, and then after 2 years he says, no, I'm not going to come because obviously he's 72 and somebody else comes in, then I'd be like, I'd put my hands up and say, fair play to you, Roy Hodgson. I just burnt because of what happened at Liverpool, but he's very good at Fulham, obviously. The England thing doesn't really count because England are shite. But do you know what I mean? Well, it could be Gareth Southgate come in and take it over him because he's played at Palace as well. I would just like to see, I always like to see teams play a little bit. We're going to talk about Bournemouth in 2 seconds, and look at the way they're going now. Like, look at the way Wolves, I really enjoyed watching them at the weekend.
They don't have the same money though. And
True,
look
but
at
you
how
can still...
long Eddie Howe's been in that job for him to develop that team.
Palace have more money than
And
them.
they've just brought in Jefferson Lerma, they've brought in Rico, they're making some technical decisions and transfers that will really improve the side. So like that has taken a long time. It's been a long building process. You know, Eddie Howe has done an unbelievable job as well. Like, and I think, you know, that
We're
just
going to
leads
talk about
naturally
him
into,
Yeah.
you know, I don't think I would certainly not get rid of Roy Hodgson. I would keep him. I think they'll survive this season. And I think he should stay on.
Barring a long-term injury for Zaha, which interestingly he's come out and said about does he have to get his leg broken before?
I fully agree with his comments. I know that he didn't talk shite said I don't know, he had a go at him.
Yeah.
But you see it all the time with Eden Hazard. I think it's Hazard, Zaha.
Yeah, Zaha was the second most fouled.
I think it's one of the Arsenal players. Is it
Probably
Oates?
Xhaka.
Maybe Oates. No, not the most fouling, the most foul. And
It's
then it's
it's
Sadio
the
Mane is
type of
down there as
player,
well.
you know.
Just constantly kicked down. And Zaha's right. He gets some horrific tackles.
Yeah. I mean, the 1-2 weeks ago against Watford, was it? Where the referee was from here to that screen.
That was shocking.
Just said nothing. Yeah.
It is serious, and it's going to discourage those players to go on those runs and to play that football that we all like to see. So the thing you want to see happen is for those players to be protected.
Listen, we're going to just quickly chat about our performance the weekend that we thought from the Premier League. We all agreed it was Bournemouth convincingly swiping Leicester.
Yeah.
A fully fit Leicester with Jamie Vardy aside, 4-2, and the 2 goals were generous for Leicester in the end.
Yeah.
As you already mentioned, Ryan Fraser had an outstanding game, 2 goals and an assist, and he could have had much more.
Yeah.
He should have had a penalty as well, I think.
He should have had a penalty, yes.
It was, I think it was a penalty.
Yes.
I don't think Vardy's a penalty. I think Begovic touches it. Like, you not agree with me? Why are you not agreeing with anything I
Do
say?
you think Fraser's was a penalty, Grant? Do you think he was looking for it?
I think it's yes.
You should always look for it. You should
Aye.
always
Different-
look to win a penalty.
Different argument, like, but it's. I don't think it's a stone wall, like if you're making.
No, it wasn't Stonewall, like, but I think it was a penalty.
Yeah, but he was fantastic.
Oh, it was outstanding.
From last season, he had a great start when he came into the Bournemouth side, and then maybe people were aware of him more then, and there was a wee bit of pressure developed because people saw how capable he was. But he seems to have got his confidence back this season, and he looks like a real find for Bournemouth. Like, and Bournemouth now, Eddie Howe has, as you said, made a couple of good sort of technical signings, but he's got his players back fit. And King and Wilson.
They're key.
Callum
So
Wilson's
key.
very key,
Talismanic
like.
figures, you know?
Again, goal scorers, do you know what I mean? Bournemouth already have 3 wins this season, a draw and a defeat. The only defeat was to Chelsea. And they were very good in that game. Chelsea scored late on twice. And they've drawn with Everton, I think, but they've beat they've beat teams who
In and
are
around
maybe
them.
going to be in around
They're
them,
fifth.
which is so important at this stage of the season. West Ham, Palace, I think they beat as well.
Yeah.
Um,
The West Ham went
Cardiff
very
maybe.
good.
So that, you know, it's been so impressive so far this season, and you know, long may it continue. No European competitions.
True,
Which
as
is a big
distractions, which is again serves Watford well, although they got beaten at the weekend. But in terms of Bournemouth, you know, Leicester had more possession. We're talking
Yeah.
about a team that were 4-0 down here. Leicester had more possession, Leicester had more shots on target. Bournemouth had 5 shots on target, they scored 4 goals. Unbelievable success rate. And maybe, you know, in the finer details of the game, Bournemouth are becoming sharper. They're becoming more aware of what it takes to win a Premier League match. They're finishing off at the top end of the pitch. They're defending better at the back end of the pitch. And, you know, I think
I like
Eddie
the
Howe
Lerman
has
phase
to,
of very
oh,
good addition
excellent. And Eddie Howe has to be commended.
Yeah.
You need to take your chances.
Yeah.
That
They
is
certainly
what it
did.
comes down to. And if the finishers they've got now, Fraser's going to be chipping in with goals, and King and Wilson, and they've goals coming from midfield as well, with Smith scoring a goal on
Really
Saturday
good
too.
finish, yeah.
So, you know, goals need to be coming from all over the place, which is where Crystal Palace are struggling, Huddersfield are struggling, Cardiff are struggling, Newcastle are struggling. You know, that's where all these signings are coming to fruition for Eddie Howe. Is adding goals is such an important thing.
And he's done it slowly.
Yeah.
You know.
They're playing Burnley next week, and we can maybe focus on them then for next week's show.
Mhm.
And we'll look at Eddie Howe. But just to talk a little bit about, you were talking about the possession.
Mhm.
They actually had as well. Remember when they first came up under Eddie Howe, they were seen as this team that are going to pass, and it was all possession, it was tiki taka, and they'll pass it around. You don't get near them. But it is interesting that they've maybe gone away from that a little bit. They,
Yeah.
Like the first goal under Fraser was on the counter attack.
Yeah.
Bang! It went. Was it King? It went to, and he flicked it through. Fraser cuts inside and finishes it.
Great goal.
King tortured Harry Maguire. King and Wilson tortured Harry Maguire and Wes Morgan all day.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire looks like he's been Space Jam since he's come back.
And
Not
then,
if he had a wee 2 or 3 games, he was good after the World Cup, or he's solid, but he just looked terrific on Saturday. Like.
and Morgan also ended up, you could see that his challenge was born out of frustration.
Yeah.
That it was a silly challenge, he might not have caught him as much as it initially looked like. But
No, I think the second one was probably the one that he should have got sent off, but the referee sent him off the first one. But yeah,
Yeah. So, you know, Leicester are having problems too, conceding goals, like, which is what you were saying earlier on about Johnny Evans, which
he's
is
just sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and you know what? Just I don't know, something as I was watching the highlights of that match, or was watching the coverage of it, you know, it just sort of came to me that Clubwell is under pressure.
A little bit, I think. Yeah, I think he
Just
will be
sense that
after
he's under
conceding
pressure.
4 at Bournemouth. Yeah.
Yeah, I just get that feeling, you know. I know Bournemouth started very well, and they've only lost 1 game so far in 5, which is unbelievable, you know, but I just get the impression that he's under a little bit of pressure. And hopefully he can turn around. I really like him. I think
Yeah.
Southampton really, you know, treated him badly, you know,
Yeah.
and I hope he does well. But ultimately, you know, Bournemouth took their chances,
They were superb.
and
Really,
Leicester
really
were
superb.
left to rue, you know.
I thought it was a brilliant performance. We really enjoyed watching the highlights back, and some of the football was classic. That Adam Smith goal at the end was a lovely finish.
yeah.
It's about in the bottom corner. That'll probably do us for this week. My voice broke on live on TV. We're gonna I don't know what day we'll be back next week. We haven't decided. We might stick to Tuesday, or we might go to Monday. We're not sure yet, but we just want to quickly run through the fantasy teams. I almost forgot it, and
Well,
thanks sake, the Renshaw rejects are still. Would somebody please take over Andrew Renshaw in our fantasy league, because I'll never hear the end of it. And he wants a Brighton away shirt. So John, if you're in our fantasy league, sort it out, because you don't want me buying a Brighton top for someone.
and he's also 8 points clear.
Oh,
of
he's getting a bit of
second
lead.
place. It's coming home. You know, a great showing there from Abdel Halad Ghazi, who picked up 78 points there last week. So, you know,
Some
that's
serious going
pretty
there.
pretty good. And you know, some very good scores there, like I must
Yeah.
say. But yes, we want a new league leader next week. Keep things fresh, keep
Yeah.
things interesting.
He had Hazard in his team and didn't put him as captain.
Oh.
Painful.
Andrew. But yes, thanks for watching if you watch it live, everyone. Or thanks for watching it later on if you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook, catching up. Enjoy the football this weekend. We're all off now to watch Liverpool v PSG. Good luck.
Good night.